Hello and welcome in this new and first video in this channel. And yes, I highlight the word this before channel just cause, well, this is my second channel, the art channel. I'm good to be, it's a gameplay channel, so there you will find all gameplay stuff, and here you will find all my art stuff, sometimes also mixing a little of the things, but well. For the new one, for remembering to the old one, I'm an Italian artist. I studied 3 years in a comic academy, and after that I expand my studies also to animation, to modeling. Well, I'm studying a lot of things. I love art in general, I love talk to art, about art, and I love also to talk about anything and everything, all at once. So, and today, we are here for Marvel Rivals! Marvel Rivals has combined 2 of my discovered and rediscovered passion, online gaming and Marvel. I know about the rivalry and the comparison with the twin Overwatch, a game that I have always admired from the outside for the designs, some piece of lore, etc, but unfortunately never played. One day I will. But the thing that I think has been the real success more than everything is just the fact that it's a new game. I already know Marvel Heroes, but now you can meet also new characters from a brand that maybe you had never had before, like Jeff the Land Shark, or you delve into others that you have already loved, like Miss Fantastic and the Creator Skins, with a ton of influence by the movie Spider-Verse, for example. And yes, here I am creating a series of illustrations based on and inspired by Marvel Rivals, the Spider-Dimensional brother! Let's start with them just cause I have a passion for Spider-Man. Peni I met with Spider-Verse and Venom have always been the perfect toxic sidekick of my favorite hero. I'm a main Peni Parker, yes, I ran away from Jeff once I realized what the job of healers actually was, which is being beaten physically by enemies and morally by companions, becoming the goat on the mountain together with Isaac and his father. And I must say that I love this great little mecha girl. I love the design, in particular the mechanical movements also on the back, which almost seems to take up the jaws of a tarantula, as well as the head. And I love how they highlight her intelligence by giving her this ball head, also highlighted by the haircut. It's pretty cool. It's also very nice that they gave her a suit more contextualized to her role as a mecha driver. I think it is more to highlight how these characters are fictional heroes even before they're human. Okay, I admit that I choose her as main because I'm not very good. They prefer to do damage passively. With Spider-Man and Venom, I find one of the only criticisms I make of such kind of art style or art designs, which is that they often all end up being just very bulky. I still love their style of Marvel Rivals, but certainly a little more differentiation in the body shapes presented here and there, just in some kind of design. I know that the style is based on recreating the hyperbolic body shapes of the classic comic age of superheroes that with the time it changed a lot from that period. Not just hero like Overwatch or the general concept of hero, but comic hero. They are comic hero, but a little differentiation here and there certainly is welcome sometimes. The 2 of them are also perhaps the simplest. With them, in fact, unlike Peni, on which I worked more to synthesize, with them I add a bit of shapes and masses. Maybe Spider-Man is my less favorite Marvel Rivals design after Star-Lord, because I find it has been made complex, but only in the drawing, in the lines on his costume, more than in his messes. Maybe adding something on his backline, back like a backpack or protective armor containing gadget. Maybe highlight the gloves and shoes in a more cartoonish way to give them back that friendly and playful Spidey look. But well, I use it as an idea for my redesign of Spider-Man one day probably. So same thing in part with Venom, but hey, it makes sense that is actually a big dark spot at the end of the day, so thumbs up for him. I love his skins also. They also have in common the fact that I can't play them. Okay, Venom a little more, yes, even if it looks like a clumsy idiot under my hands until I regain the momentum to shoot myself in infinity and beyond. Spider-Man, too much precision needed. And as I said before, I'm a son of a bitch who set traps hazardly and not. As backers, obviously I chose glimpses of the Spider Island, of which I would love to see a domain map without the car one day. Maybe also the simplest because it's the most earthly after the one in the city center, but I love the suggestion, the fracture in the sky and the fusion with the mysticism, the oriental mysticism, to underline the link with the destiny and fate of duty of the Spider-Man. That is a never-ending topic in Spider-Man stories. The ASGARD TRIAD! Well, a lot of Nordic elements and symbols have three figures in them. Strength! A strange word to attribute to a bully character like Thor. Yes, I find that he is the most bully of tanks. One of his moves is literally him pushing you. I find it very annoying to fight against and unsatisfying to play with. Also because everything is based on him pulling straight and separating the various elements of the team to just bond them.
The enemy is here.
I think his design is my third less favorite Marvel Rivals design, when they make a tier list, for sure. I find it interesting to make it more mythological and emphasize his wisdom even with the lines of dialogue. But the armor is a mixture of too many different forms. I obviously summarize them in various squares, also for remaining with the angular shapes with the like the others, to always resume the triangular shapes with I start the composition of this illustration. But I really like his skin, I must say. The one from the movie and this other one. Union with Hela. It was very strange to see Hela in the roster of characters. Never been more than a classic villain or a remake for another character. Beautiful lore and captivating design, but I had not left such a strong mark. Perhaps is to give her a new shine to the character, to future appearance, or perhaps they wanted to play with a character whose gameplay could be interesting, I think. HIII finished the job, snapped someone, in short, unity is strength. I represented Charm as Dark Assassin by putting her upside down both for a nice zigzag, also, in the composition, but also to underline her dominion of the afterlife, as if she were in the world below ours. Actually, she is. In effect. I also stretch a little her neck and hair for not make the shapes too much, for not make too much intersection with the shapes as the original character design. Cyclicity and Loki. Not too much to say, I find it funny to look at, but terribly strange to use. Also, with my affinity for placing traps and helpers, I could reevaluate it over time. He's a very good agent of chaos, and I remember how strange I was to see a clone of me with the same name as me in the opposing ranks, so much so that I thought it was a bug. But at the same time, it was precisely what made me recognize him immediately. So, but it was pretty funny. I love his design. I always love insecure character design. Pay attention, the larger the decoration and clothing of a character, the more his ego is so frozen that he uses those clothes and for as intimidation, like pufferfish or Buggy in One Piece. Thor, for example, has all elements of clothing that do not really define his silhouette. They are very close to his messes. Hela already has a huge headdress and a backrest, which perfectly represent her ego and desire to stretch her own limbs to keep everything under control. And Loki has this huge jacket, multiple layers of jacket, more belts, headbands, and a huge furry collar that highlight his face and large arms. Of course, many of the design of Marvel Rivals are full of extra details, of course, but with Loki, I really wanted to play on the idea of making all those circular shapes angular but massive. And of course, I drew his power of copies, which I found very interesting and useful, especially for a healer whose first thought is actually to know how to escape from the apocalypse. Also for this reason, with him I like his simplicity, his continuum positioning, making him truly immortal at times, like a god. XMEN to us! Dealing with mutants, I wanted to highlight their mutation and those they get with their ults. Magik becomes Satan, Wolverine no longer risks baldness, Psylocke entering the wings, and Storm becomes a storm. Okay, here too the concept is a bit stretched, but the X-Men have always been composed of a duality of narrative and morality, always about acceptance on themselves, on others, and on the world they live in. And I wanted to represent these dualities. On Magik, I wanted to show the detachment between his slender body and the massive armor, were represented by the design of the sword too, and I like also how they put on her this sweeter haircut. It emphasized well the constriction of her character in her role in Limbo, actually. Wolverine short, I love him. I love how much with those bright blues and yellows, exaggerated shoulder pads and a perennial grin on their face, the sympathy and confidence that a living animal weapon like him deserves to have, because even if a weapon is a sweet, warm heart, a world. Also love the little detail of this, how can I call it, the army little tag, cause, well, it was a weapon, in effect, so. Marvel Rivals in general is full this attention to the details, also cause I guess we can say that they're not even a continuation of the character of the movies of the comics, but they actually just are a mix of all their existing character version. I don't know much about Psylocke. I see her from time to time. I love psychic weapons because I love purple. I really appreciate the oriental style on her, which I also try to highlight by making her as sharp as possible, almost to recall as Blade. And unlike Wolverine, she does not fight openly, but by hiding in the end. Storm works perfect, but in the background precisely to represent her as a natural element that she exploits with her powers. She has many lines that go for a form of X, and so it was the ideal background for the X-Men. Making her big, I also react by focusing only on the details on the face, with after doing a lot of bodies, it's a perfect little break. Talking about their game set, well, I just choose them, all the X-Men, for quick play. But I always had fun, some more with some less. Magik is the one I have the most affinity with. Wolverine, I prefer to play with him instead of against him. After Thor the Bully, we are Wolverine the Kidnapper. King. Tyrant King. Okay, I admit that I scored our own goal in not having put Magik here as a sovereign of Limbo, but Magneto instead. Only for his will and actual statue in at least some comic stories of Tyrant. But here I wanted to put more of the figures that also manifested in the shape, the idea of sovereignty, rather than just the status. They are all characters that I have seen little and I don't like them too much, at least. Maybe in some exposition of them I prefer, for sure. And except for Magneto, who I appreciate a lot as an enemy. I also like the newfound bromance in the now old reboot films with Xavier. I love of Namor, the huge armor and the extreme sharpness with his angle that not only reflect his dominance but also his grimness. And I like how the most soft thing in his design are the wings on his feet, and still are made in triangular shapes for remarking every time the fact he is a more triangular base shapes, because he's aggressive. He's a king. The design that I found less interesting was the basic one of Black Panther, so I cheated a bit and put the galactic suit on it, which also fits well with the setting of the game of Wakanda, of the new Wakanda, as it is moved into space now. Very interesting, the exaltation of what was already Wakanda, that is African culture made extremely futuristic. Among other things, is also very reminiscent of the lunar part of the Trojan Planet, I love that film, and maintains the key concept of Black Panther, marriage of science and magic. With this palette of purples and greens, with all colors concerning the afterlife, the supernatural, the mysterious, the nature, Magneto has always been much loved by superhero fans, also for his fairly sympathetic story. After all, he acts as a tyrant wanting to devise a world only for mutants, but it's often been told in comics and in movies how part of his manners are derived from his stay in a concentration camp, so it's totally understandable also. Is the thing about evil that feed other evil, done with the excuse of good. I try to give him his imaginary crown of a sovereign by making him a very long helmet, also to balance the composition for where I will then make the reward of the team up with Wanda. As they are always very regal figures, I emphasize how even on them there are as many triangle shapes, or at least angular, as a symbol of closeness to God, so symbol of kings, as one of the signs tend to the ground while the peak to the sky. Among the three, Magneto is certainly the one I play the most, as my second choice among the tanks. With him I act like a real vulture. I wait to find the first victim ready to die in a rage. The latest illustration, for today at least, Dark Rain. Well, I like a lot of skins from this game, and as a bonus illustration for both this and the second part of this video, do an illustration of my favorite skins of some characters. In this one we have Venom Spaceball, Peni Neo Genesis Evangelion, Psylocke Wednesday Adams, and Loki President. Yes, I know it's not a real skin yet, but it was like in beta or similar, but I love the concept. Not so much the design itself, very chaotic in palettes and shapes, instead removing the well highlighted part such as the face in the base design, but I love the idea of the God of Deception as a president. I know that Venom skin is not solid, but I realized that I was in that artistic period where a lot what bothers me. And in general, I found that the skin represented him well as an alien soldier, but they gave him a strange pug bulldog face, which has always fascinated me how strange it was to me in the whole concept. Peni Venom, well, the original is inspired by Neo Genesis Evangelion with, well, has the idea of a robotic body that merges with organic matter, becoming conscious, an element also were used in other works such as Gurren Lagann, where robotic limits are overcome by human evolution. And I always love the green-black contrast more than the red-black, I have to admit. Psylocke, I love the gothic aesthetic, and I wanted to play on the fact that while in the bad skin the psychic weapons are made of butterflies, here they're made of Beth. And they mentioned the cover of Spiderman 3 with the symbiote suit in this illustration. Cool, eh? Okay guys, here we are. I wanted to end this video, obviously remind you that there will be a second part of it where I do all other characters, and obviously while the game will add new characters in itself with the time passing, well, obviously I will cover, I want to cover every character, so I use an excuse for drawing some also Marvel characters, but I also wanted to redesign, make some drawing also not just from the Marvel Rival designs. One day I want to design and redesign a lot of things. Also, I want to thank you all guys, also for the I'm Good To Be channel, also here in RBR channel, so for the gameplay channel, for the art channel, also on Tumblr, for Reddit, in every social where I spawned. Thank you all for the support. I'm really happy. We're happy to be here. I'm happy to sharing my thought, my art, and feel free also you to share it with me. Also criticism, obviously, about video, about my art. Share it also. I want to know. Already thank you guys for watching it. I hope you like this video. I hope you like all the future videos, or if you don't like them, well, tell me, obviously, in the comments. And, well, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next video.